We're living in an insane time. We have so many tools at our disposal to be able to automate and implement AI into businesses. But that raises one question that I've not seen addressed anywhere. What tool do I use and when? In this video, we're going to cover the suite of Claude features that let us automate business processes, as well as make.com and n8n, and when you should be using which to build what type of automation. That sounds a little bit confusing, but I promise you it's going to make sense once we get into the video. If you're new here, my name's Efan. I build automations for businesses, for business owners that are tired of working in their business and want to work on their business instead. So if that sounds like you, book a free discovery call with me and we'll get chatting. Okay, so in this video, what we're going to go over is we're going to go over Claude routines, make.com and n8n, managed agents, and Claude Cowork, and when you should be using each. Okay, so there's one box in here. We're going to start with need live reasoning. So there's only one agent or one feature that actually fits into this, and that is Claude managed agents. So let's drag Claude managed agents, because if your process or automation needs live reasoning whilst it's running, your only option is to use Claude managed agents. There are obviously competitors out there, but for the sake of keeping this video a little bit shorter, we're just going to say Claude managed agents. So what is Claude managed agents? The documentation here really gives us a good kind of view. So there's some core concepts that we need to understand and a little bit about how it works. But if you've used Claude before, you've opened up the chat, that's basically what happens in Claude managed agents. What happens is an instance of Claude gets spun up on Claude's software. So Claude gives us some compute and they can create the environment or all of this, and Claude actually runs there and it runs on your task as if it was open on your laptop, but instead of being open on your laptop, it's open in a dark room in a server somewhere on Claude's tech. So we have the agent. This is kind of what you guys are using by opening Claude, and we have access to our tools. So you can actually come into Claude agents, which we're going to do now, and we'll just create a little agent because there's nothing better than actually building. We'll create a support agent to answer customer questions from the docs and knowledge base, and then escalate them when needed. So we'll click on this, and you'll see we just get some YAML. It gives the name, description, model. We get the system prompt, and we get some MCP servers and tools. So the important thing to note here is the MCPs and tools, but we'll walk through everything. So we just clicked create and we created the support agent. As you can see, we have the system prompt in here, and then we have the MCPs and tools. These are the things that your Claude managed agent is going to be able to access and do. As we see, we have Notion and we have 13 tool permissions. So what we're saying is this agent is able to search, fetch, create pages, update a page, etc. Now, one thing to note is this can get expensive. The reason it can get expensive is because this deals in token usage. And as we know, tokens cost quite a lot. So we're not actually just going to be paying for the compute, because AI is going to be managing this whole automation. It's going to be using tokens, which can get quite expensive. Okay, that's a quick overview of Claude managed agents. Please do go try this out and create some agents for yourself so you can really understand what that can do for your business. Next, I want to kind of split these into a deterministic flow and the rest. So what a deterministic flow means is if, for example, you have a process like completing invoices, you want that invoice process to be completed the same way every single time. You don't want any variation, the same numbers going to the same forms, going to the same place. That's what a deterministic flow is. Now, what a non-deterministic flow may be is maybe responding to an email. Email comes in, you need to understand what the person's saying, chew on it a little bit, and then respond. This is a non-deterministic flow because it has a different output every time. So here's where it gets a little bit interesting. In this deterministic flow, we can use either make.com or n8n, or we can use Claude routines. Now, some of you may be thinking, yeah, but you can use Claude Cowork as well. For simplicity, I'm just going to leave it out because yes, you can, but you'd really be using routines for this. So Claude routines, let's take a little deep dive and explain a little bit what Claude routines do. Some quick examples which is something we'll go build now. Okay, so the way that you get to Claude routines is by going on Claude online, clicking on code, and then we have here routines. Now, Claude routines are probably the biggest competitor to make.com and n8n. The reason being, what we can do is we can create a routine in here and describe what we want to happen in plain English. So let's do just that. Hi, I want you to give me a daily brief. I want you to look into my Google Calendar, look into my Gmail, and create a to-do list for me or anything that I should be aware of in the morning so I can read it and be prepped for my day. I would recommend you maybe give that to Claude before you just paste it in here, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to put it in here. Now what we do is we make sure that we have our connectors. As you can see, I've connected Gmail, I've connected Google Drive, Google Calendar. I'll call this Daily AM Brief. Just as a FYI, you could connect this to your CRM just by saying add connector. Let's say maybe you use Airtable. Oh yeah, you would actually add this in your Claude Code UI, not in here. Now, one thing I don't want to skip over is a schedule and an API. Maybe if you're familiar with a make.com or n8n scenario, you can either trigger it via schedule or you can trigger it via a webhook or API. So we can do both of these here. I'm going to do a schedule. So we'll just do run daily at 9 o'clock and I'll click create. Now I'm going to run this now so you can kind of see and have a feel for what this does. So what's happening is there's a Claude Code session being spun up on Anthropic's tech. It's going to read my prompt. Like I didn't paste that prompt in. It's just going to go through that. It's using the Gmails, it's using this, and then it's going to give me the output. Now, some of the cons of this is the same as Claude Managed Agents. In this automation, yes, you have it working. Yes, you've just given it an English prompt, but a Claude Code session spins up and we deal in tokens. We're not dealing in compute. So this is going to be a little bit more expensive, and it's not really you should move every scenario, every automation and just use Claude routines, because if you're using if there's a big task that you're doing, it's sometimes nice having it in a make scenario, one, so that you can actually see it, and two, it's going to be a little bit cheaper because you're dealing in compute when you're over in make or n8n, whilst when you're dealing in tokens, you're going to be paying a price for that. Beautiful. So as you can see, it's gone through my emails, it's gone through my calendar, and it's given me that daily to-do list. Now, if I was to leave this as is, it would run every single day at 9 o'clock. I don't want that because I was quite a bad prompt for just a random demo. So I'm going to delete this. Now we're going to go into make.com. For those of you that are new to this, there's a bunch of YouTube videos and tutorials, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the UI. In make.com, what you have is you have scenarios. And in these scenarios, you can drag and drop little nodes to build automations. As you can see, we can have like Excel, we can create an Excel file, and then afterwards we can get a Anthropic module so we can talk to an AI agent to take that data in, and then maybe we can put it into another node. But you can drag and drop these stuff. But if you're still dragging and dropping and building these manually, you're probably behind. I do have a video explaining how you can connect Claude to Make, and you can build these scenarios using Claude Code. So go check that out if you haven't. So you should be using make.com if you are new to automation, because it's very good for you to be able to see the actual thing that you're building rather than just Claude doing stuff in the background. It's also a little bit cheaper. So if you're a little bit conscious about the price and you're trying to compete on price, you're going to want to be using this rather than your Claude routines. And just FYI, I'm using make.com and n8n interchangeably. So don't really have a preference as to whichever one takes your candy. Okay, I'm back to this. So if you have a UI with no API, let's think maybe social media. You want to be able to automate your LinkedIn, automate Instagram. There's obviously no API for you to be able to do this sort of stuff, but you want to be able to build an automation for it. And Cowork is your guy. I just built a video showing how I actually automate my LinkedIn outreach using Claude Cowork. But let me go take you into Claude Cowork and show you how to do that. So Claude Cowork is great. You're going to open the Claude desktop app. You need to have that downloaded. And on the top left here, in this little tab, we have Claude Cowork. Now, if you're familiar with Claude skills, this is going to be very, very useful for you. So what you can do is you can actually create your skills and have them run as scheduled tasks in Claude Cowork. So let's just go take a skill that Anthropic has already created and let's go demo it. Let's use small business. This was making the rounds on social media recently. It is Claude's answer to basically be using Claude Cowork for small businesses. So basically what this is a group of like 31 skills that Claude have created that you can invoke. So let's pick this one because it's quite easy. We'll do Monday brief. So if you are following along, what you're going to want to do is come into small business. You're going to want to install the plugin. I've just installed it. Then come into Cowork, click / Monday brief, and then you're going to want to run it. Now, I've been thrashing my Claude, so I'm actually out of credits, but what you're going to see here is it's going to prompt you to actually connect to the MCP servers that Monday brief needs. Just as an FYI, what this would do is it would actually go into your PayPal, HubSpot, Google Calendar, Gmail, Teams, and basically get you the whole business's pulse, which is really, really useful because you can imagine you doing this manually, you just wouldn't be able to do it. Now, if you want to run this every single Friday, every single Monday, how you do so in Claude Cowork is you'd come into your Cowork, you would create a scheduled task, you'd go new task, and we'll set it up manually so I can show you how to do it. We'll call it Friday brief. You'll click / plugins, small business, and then you're going to want to click on any single one. So in here, we clicked business pulse. And as a frequency, let's say that you want this to work every single Friday. You click weekdays. Sorry, no, you click weekly, 9 a.m. and you say Friday, and then you click save. And that is it. As a little one, I'd put act without asking, just so that it's able to do everything. Now, third question, running on a schedule. So if you want a automation to run on a schedule, you can technically use Cowork. I just showed you how to build a schedule there. You can use Claude routines because I just showed you you're able to put a timer on the Claude routines. You can also obviously use make.com and n8n. And that is where I'm actually going to be sitting with this answer. It is to use make.com and n8n. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you want to build an automation that does something every single day, every single week, every something, chances are it's going to go wrong at some point. You want to be able to fix that quite quickly so that it's up, maintainable, and ready for your business operations. Now, there is one caveat to this suggestion. It is you need to be using Claude MCP servers to actually be building these and maintaining them. Hooking up Claude MCP to your make.com, to your n8n is going to make your life so much easier. Claude has access to every single node that's in there. It can build it and it can troubleshoot when things go wrong super simply. So, as a recap, if you need live reasoning, you're going to want to use Claude Managed Agents. If there's a UI, but there's no API, you're going to want to use Claude Cowork. If you want something to run on a schedule and it's relatively simple, use make.com or n8n. And if it's a deterministic flow, use either make.com or n8n or Claude routines, depending on what you want to do. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe as well. And if you would like to implement AI into your business, feel free to book a free discovery call with me and we can talk about it.